I think, 20 years, Sheila, I've been running after a cure, hoping to be cured, finding a treatment, you know.
Yeah.
But I realized in the last 8 years, which is why I started my journey, is okay, I have this. What's the best I can make of it, right?
Exactly.
And so instead of sitting home and being depressed, I think.
Life will always throw challenges at us, but the difference lies with what we make of these challenges. Welcome to another inspiring episode of Podcast with Sheila. I have conquered cerebellar ataxia, and now I'm conquering the world, one day at a time. These are the words of Alma Chopra, our guest for today. Alma is an entrepreneur, an experienced life counselor. Her life story, which is an embodiment of hope, faith, and courage, is what she'll be sharing with us today. Hello, Alma, and welcome to Podcast with Sheila.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for having me and giving me an opportunity to share my story with your listeners.
Great. Do you have a favorite quote you'd like to share with us today?
I have a lot of favorite quotes. I think one that has stuck with me is "Blessed are the cracked, for they let the light in" by Groucho Marx. I heard that when I was younger and I didn't really understand it, but now I feel it's very profound and it speaks to what I believe in, what I try to do.
Great.
I believe people such as myself who are looked at as a lesser species, kind of. I don't think that's what we are. I think that's how society puts us down and portrays us, but I think we have a heightened ability in other areas that is often overlooked.
Great. Give us a little background story of who Alma is, where she comes from, how life was growing up just before the crisis hit, all of that.
Sure. I was born and brought up on the East Coast of the United States, specifically New Jersey. I moved to India when I was 30 years old. My childhood, I had a pretty storybook childhood, playing on the sidewalks with my friends. I had a very quaint and beautiful neighborhood that I grew up in. I would bike ride with my friends in the neighborhood. I would walk to the local pizzeria. So it was pretty ideal until the crisis hit and I was diagnosed at about 10 years old with a neurological condition.
Great. So how has life been like since the diagnosis?
I would say it's been more than 2 decades with the diagnosis. And I would say my life has been in stages. My condition has progressed very slowly. So I would say the first year I just kind of wasn't in denial, but I tried to shrug it off because I'm a very strong-headed person. Then my next phase was kind of reclusiveness and introversion, and then the acceptance started, and that's still something I'm working on.
Okay, so let's take it slowly at this point. What are some of the things you were able to do that you can't do now since the crisis hit?
Okay, so let me put it in a little perspective. At this point, I'm unable to walk without assistance.
Okay.
Let me back up a little more.
Yes.
So ataxia as a motor, basically it's a motor problem.
Okay.
It's a problem with your motors, coordination, your balance starts in your cerebellum. So my tissues in my brain have been degenerated. So going back to the beginning of my diagnosis, I was pre-diagnosis, I was a gymnast, and as most of us know, strength, coordination, balance, all of that is required as a gymnast. During diagnosis and post-diagnosis, slowly my ability to coordinate movements quick enough and coordinated enough to run. I wasn't able to run shortly after my diagnosis. I stopped being able to jump slowly, but now I don't have the coordination to do that anymore. My depth perception slowly has been affected. So meaning when there's a step down, when you climb down steps, there's not enough light. I don't know that there's a step involved. So these are activities of my handwriting got worse and worse, and I still can write, but it's unless I practice it, it's very not readable. So that's where I am right now. And again, my movements have been slowly they degenerated. My speech is also something that has been affected. Of course, I would say the agility, which with I can speak, that has been affected. But continuous therapy and continuous movement of the muscles definitely help in my condition, and as well as in any motor condition.
Great, Alma. Thank you very much for giving us an insight to what exactly is going on and educating us on what the situation actually really is. When you were giving your quote earlier on, you had mentioned that lesser species, that is how some people put you. Is there a type of way that people treat you, or that kind of treatment you receive that you are not pleased with? I ask because you just said lesser species.
Yeah, so Sheila, I went through my undergrad. I went on to pursue my master's, and so I'm very qualified. I'm very good at what I do. I'm very intelligent, but I think, I mean, definitely not in India, but not in the States as well, although there's more opportunity there. When I ever get equal opportunity or fair chance to do something, my counterpart would be given the opportunity to do. So when I say lesser species, I think I think this is true in the UK as well, but it definitely, so we say disability, right? That's a very derogatory word.
Yeah.
So you say to me, you class, like society classes people like me, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, right?
Yeah.
But then what's worse is I tell myself that I have a disability, right? What does that tell you? Or what will that tell me, right? If I say, oh, Alma, you're this, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. What words do you associate this with? It's disillusion, dislike, dissatisfied, disappointment, right? The prefix dis makes the word sound is negative, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I want to work on and try to change that. So people such as myself not only feel better about themselves, but society can look at us differently, right? Because like you said, Sheila, going back to the quote that I believe in, which is blessed are the cracked for they let the light in. Everyone has deficiencies, right? Even if you're not labeled as like disabled, at some point, everyone is disabled, right?
Yeah.
With an illness or with an emotional issue or with stress. So it's not, I mean, it's not really fair to give people like me a disadvantage.
Well, that's well said. That's really well said. Your quote again, let me go back to that because I just caught on it and I think that is very enlightening. It says, blessed are the crack for they let light in. Is that it?
Yes.
Wow, that's beautiful. You know, despite all the challenges you went through, because it hit at the age of 10, and then it's been going for 2 decades, and that didn't put you down. You have a degree, a first degree and a second degree. How have you been able to achieve this? I believe you have achieved other things as well, which we'll be talking about later. But let's start from here. How have you been able to overcome all the challenges and then gone on to achieve a first degree and a second degree despite the challenges?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I get that question often.
Yeah.
My response usually is faith. I became spiritual at a very young age. I'm not really sure how, but it was kind of an innate thing that was sparked within me.
Yeah.
But now in retrospect, if I think about it, I believe that even at birth, before we're born, we are given the challenges that we're gonna have to live with, whether it's illness, whatever it is, right? Whether it's our family, but you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we're given the strengths that we need to overcome.
Yeah.
So I think I was given that resilience, and kind of in the guise of faith.
Yeah.
So to believe like there's a reason for everything, right?
Exactly.
There can be some, maybe it's not some good and it makes it take some time, but I believe everything happens for a reason, right? So if you can kind of grasp that, I think your ability to, or your resilience or ability to reconcile would be easier.
Beautiful. Is there any project you are embarking on at the moment that you'd like to share with us?
I'm sorry, you said project?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm currently working, but I just started my own venture. So right now I'm a motivational speaker and I go out and I give speeches. But I'm gonna start a campaign for ability awareness for people such as myself. Like what I said, I want to kind of eliminate the word disability. So I want to start that campaign. That's what I currently am trying to just raise awareness and share my story with other people. So hope that'll inspire them to maybe change their thinking or inspire them to share their own stories.
What would be the better word? I agree with you that it shouldn't be called disability. What would be the better word you would wish to throw out there to be accepted, to be used?
That's a good question. I haven't gotten my head, I haven't gotten my head around it. I know I want to do it, and I know the repercussions of the word. But I know like in India here, they call people such as myself specially abled, which is again derogatory, saying that I'm more special than you. Why? Why am I more special than you? Like, right? I mean, you and I are the same piece. I mean, we both have a soul. We're both people. I just may have gone through more things than you. That's
exactly.
So I think specially abled is not very
it's not the right way.
Yeah, disabled. I mean, so I let me get back to you on that, Sheila.
Yeah, great. What is a normal day like for you?
So a normal day for me is, I would say, like a normal day for everyone else. right? So a day for me is I wake up at around 6 in the morning. I like to do my therapies and my physical work and my yoga and gym and horse riding in the morning hours before 12. Then in the evening hours, the afternoon and evening hours, I would start my work because in India I work EST hours, so I start in the evening.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, I'm taking it easy. I'm trying to de-stress myself. So meditation, mental exercise, playing Sudoku, things like that.
Great. What are some of your life achievements?
Okay, so I mean, I think some of my achievements are like winning awards for the poetry that I've written. I used to write poetry as a kid, actually until I was about 20 years old.
Oh.
I got a couple of awards. That definitely gives you a good feeling. But I think that I want to define achievements. So for example, people set out to make goals for themselves, which I am very much for. I'm very goal-oriented myself. But what I'm not for is resolutions, like New Year's resolutions. Right? I'm going to lose 30 pounds by February 25th. Once that doesn't happen, if that doesn't happen, number one is it gets me very disheartened and demotivated, right? But number two is, does the ends justify the means, right? The end is the losing the 30 pounds or the goal or the resolution. I believe we should emphasize the means, because that's what gets us to the goal, right? If we're just focused on the goal of losing 30 pounds, well, we're not going to enjoy going to the gym. We're not going to enjoy eating the food. And that's all of our time is comprised in eating or going to the gym, right? Or doing something we don't like, right? So yeah, we might attain the goal, but if we don't like the means of getting there, we're going to have a whole slew of other issues.
So true. That's so true. That's so true. On this journey, would you say that any lessons you've learned within the 2 decades of this journey? Has there been any lessons you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I think being able to see the positive in any negative, like I said, I believe I'm very spiritual and I believe everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, there have been a lot of unfavorable circumstances in my life, but I think I've been able to get past them with the ability to say, okay, this is negative, but how can I see the positive in this?
Yeah.
Let me try to give you an example.
Okay.
I came to India. Let's see, I would say about 8 years ago, and I just came with maybe 25% of my stuff, because when I came, we were under the impression that I was just coming to India for treatment, right, for 6 months, which ended up not being the case. But in the course of me being here, I lost all of my possessions. And that was very negative for me, right? All my souvenirs, all my childhood memorabilia, all of my clothing, all of my jewelry, that was very hurtful for me. But I tried not to dwell on it. And I tried to look, okay, these things, they're not going to stay with me forever,
Exactly. Yeah.
I can, or anyone can dwell on these situations, but for how long? Life goes on. It's not, these situations, like my condition, my medical condition, it was a life changer, right?
Yeah.
And it definitely did change courses of 5 lives, me and my family members especially. But for me, like for the last, I think 20 years, Sheila, I've been running after a cure, hoping to be cured, finding a treatment, you know.
Yeah.
But I realized in the last 8 years, which is why I started my journey, is okay, I have this, what's the best I can make of it, right?
Exactly.
And so instead of sitting home and being depressed, saying, oh, poor me, oh, but I have, you know, I have an issue. What can I do now that can empower me, basically?
Exactly. Wow. You know that thing you said there, when you find yourself in a situation, you ask yourself, what can you do to empower you and to empower people who needs to be empowered? You get it? Because it's only the strong that can lead. And unless we become strong for ourselves, we can never lead. And trust me, somebody may be in a situation, not exactly as yours, but may be in some kind of situation and is hoping to listen to some hope news or some hope story like yours. You get it? What do we make out of any situation? It could be any situation. So just like mine, when I was so sick in the hospital and nearly at the point of death, I was asking myself on my hospital bed, what can I make of this story? And that was when Podcast to Sheila just dropped into my spirit. And when I came out of the hospital, I think I've shared this numerous times on this podcast, that when I came out of the hospital, I started it, and gladly COVID hit. So it gave me enough time to explore this opportunity, and we are here today. So from everything you've said, what I grasped was whatever we are going through, we should try and see the light at the end of the tunnel and be asking ourselves, what can we do, or what can we make out of the situation to impact lives and for us to also be blessed as well. So we are not just going to be blessed, but others are going to be blessed in the process. And I think we've really, really done well listening to your story. Too many positives in there that we can take along as we journey on in life. Thank you very much. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, it will be the time of truth, where we'll get to know you a bit more. So what is your favorite country?
My favorite country is North America.
Great.
I've been to a few countries, but I think the law and order, the rules, those resonate with me most. I'm a type A personality, so I like lines, I like borders, so I would have to say North America.
Great. Your favorite song?
I have a lot. So my go-to artists are people like Celine Dion, Faith Hill, Christina Perry. I think that can give me an idea of who I like. But there are 2 songs in particular that give me goosebumps every time I hear them. Those are Firework by Katy Perry,
Okay.
and Fight Song by Rachel Patterson.
What is your favorite book?
A book that I read when I was younger resonated with me and stayed with me. It's called 1,000 Tomorrows by Kingsbury, and it's a Christian novel. And even though I'm not Christian, that book was so emotional and it was so profound that it stayed with me even till today.
Great. Your favorite color?
I can't answer that, Sheila. I really like colors. So any combination of blue, green, purple, and pink. I like colors that when they mix, what they represent. So I can't just name one color.
Yeah, I understand. And your favorite phrase?
My favorite phrase, something I believe in as well, is do what you like and like what you do. Just like I was telling you about my goal setting. I
Mhm.
think the emphasis is not on the ends, it should be on the means. And when we like what we do, we will perform. And when we do what we like, we will perform. There's no question about that.
Yeah, that's so true. Finish these sentences. I wish.
I think you're helping me with my wish right now is that I wish I could share my nuggets of wisdom, freedom, and vitality quicker and reach more people. So thank you, Sheila, for helping me do that.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Now, nothing in this world can.
Definitely. Nothing in this world can make you happy. You have to be, your happiness starts from here. Even if you're given the most beautiful situations, the most beautiful house to live in, the most beautiful family, you're given the most wealth, the most success, whatever you consider success, that's not going to give you happiness unless and until you're happy from within. You're not really happy.
So true. I pray.
I pray that actions can be propelled by love and trust instead of fear and hatred.
I will love to.
At this point, I would love to make a meaningful impact on the world with my story and the lessons I've learned.
Pray. I believe.
I believe in the power of love. That sounds very naive and again, very idealistic, but I truly believe if your actions are propelled by love, really the sky is the limit.
So true. So true. If your actions are propelled by love, the sky is the limit. That's true. Yeah. What will your best advice be to everyone watching us as we wrap up?
My advice to people watching this is something that I heard when I was a kid again and again. That's this too shall pass. And when you're depressed or when you're in a challenging situation, it sounds like, what the hell, what kind of wisdom is this, right? But it really is true. I'll give you the cliches, time heals all wounds. And really, with enough time, with enough nurturing, time will heal. Will heal you. And the next one is, again, a cliche, a euphemism. What does not kill you makes you stronger. So just like we're born with the strengths we need to conquer all of our weaknesses, I think if we stay in a positive mindset, even through challenging times, we can not only conquer our weaknesses, but come out as a champion on the other side. Because once we accept our weaknesses, then we understand that if the challenging situation didn't kill us, yes, it left us a scar, but it makes us stronger, right? Sheila, I just want to also tell your listeners, there's a Japanese art they make by breaking bowls and then gluing them back together again. And that is one of the most prettiest art forms. It's a very strong art form.
Okay.
So that's just a test to what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
So true. So true. I think that we've talked about a lot of things. I'd like to say thank you very much, Alma, for giving us an insight to your life and everything you had to deal with. Despite all the challenges, you are telling us that nothing should break us. If you were able to do it, everyone else can do it. In 20 decades, you've had to go through the difficult and challenging times of your life, but you managed to come up with a first degree and a second degree. You're still doing more, hoping to inspire others around the world, going through some sort of challenge to know that they can never lose hope and give up, because there is always light at the end of the tunnel when we go exploring. So thank you very much for coming on Podcast with Sheila today.
Thank you, Sheila, for having me.
Okay. If you've been listening in, this is season 2, episode 38 of our podcast series, where we've been bringing your way seasoned guests with inspiring real life stories to share with us. Do not miss out on all these lovely experiences. Subscribe and be notified when a new episode is released. We have a video presentation of this episode on our YouTube channel. Just search for Podcast with Sheila on YouTube and you'll find us. Until we meet again, have a brilliant week.